Hi, Tracy. Thanks for the opportunity to record this analysis of your web presence and a bit of social media and user experience of your website, tracysofra.com.au, as well as wowwomen.com.au. Excuse my blur of this recording. I'm in my kitchen working from home today, but we've been having a look at your site within K&D, and we've made some interesting discoveries, if you like. And so I'll just go through, we're also going to have a look at some technical things in your site. So this analysis is just, will maybe spark some ideas. It maybe help you address a few things that you think you might need to, or open some concepts. So K&D is a full service digital agency. So we do a lot of work in individual websites, as well as builds, as well as social media. We've got copywriters and a whole bunch of different services, technical services, hosting that we do for Australian businesses as well. But I won't carry on too much about us. This is about you and your site at the moment. So let's have a look at Tracey Sofra. I've got to say, firstly, your photography and brand is excellent. You're doing a great job of delivering that in a very professional way, and that's reflective of the financial services field that you're in and the market you're trying to attract. So really well done with going the extra mile with some good real photography. You'll be surprised at the number of people who don't do that. So you're very clear about your purpose, empowerment of women, and the financial aspects of their life, which is really good. Now, when this page loads for the first time, I'm presented with sorry, I'll just proper site. I am presented with an interesting pop-up, and that pop-up might be meaningful to some. It may not be meaningful to all that totally join the site. Now, because I've already closed it, it may not pop up here. So I'll just give it a minute or two. No, it's not looking like it's going up here. Now, I'll talk about that anyway. The pop-up is probably a little bit out of context for the first person. I want to get to know you first, or the services that provide, before I get a pop-up in my face after 3 seconds about, do I want to do X? It's a little bit about my LinkedIn in-mail strategy. It's a little bit in your face, and it's probably a little bit out of context. I'm sure that I'm wondering how many people actually convert from that popover. Popovers absolutely do work, and there's no doubt about that. But perhaps wait until people have scrolled through your site a little bit before and get to know you a little bit. Maybe that's 15 seconds. Maybe it's a minute. There's some time or a particular page you want them to land on before you go straight for that popover and put people off. The interesting thing about this site is, and look, a lot of your site and a lot of your competitors' sites do exactly the same thing. Here's my services. Your services it doesn't have a drop down here, but your competitors do. But it's not really a journey for your users to go on. They are just you're saying, hey, I do this, I do this, I do this. But understand that some of your audience may not know what they really need from you first off. So maybe there's a case of introducing, working for you, or the services for women, empowering women, and then introducing your, creating wealth, preparing for retirement, all those different services that can directly target your market a little better than what you're doing currently on your site, would help people understand your business and your offering a little bit more in context. You're doing a great job, I would have to say, in social media with your Wow Women group, and leading your leading your users into this group. So here's my group. You're doing a nice soft approach to that, and maybe this is your key. So here's this this confidence score. So pop up, which appears on your site. I was a little bit like, whoa, why do I need a confidence score? What is this experience that you're taking me on without getting to know you first? So that was a takeaway from my first experience with you. This work with Tracey, loading, again, same sort of thing. It loads Calendly, so and a booking form. So that's okay, but it's probably a little bit early in the journey before you can say, hey, book a time. You probably need a interim page that is, hey, I empower women, like this more engaging storyline, perhaps with some trust reassuring moments, your awards, your recommendations, some success stories from your client base. All of those sort of elements could soften that and basically build that trust. So what's missing from here is that little bit of subconscious trust building that needs to be built in those first few seconds. So your journey is softening that approach, which is excellent, of personalizing the journey, as seen in this is that trust building, and perhaps that needs to be higher up in above the fold to give that a little bit more context. And how you can work with me probably also needs a little more context and a more detail around what each of these verticals does. So clearly you're a leader in the field of financial services, and especially for women and in building powerful women. But tell me a little bit more about these. So probably each of these, Wow Money Women, the Wow Money Collective, the Wow Women Executive, each of these probably need another page of content. So, but I would try and think about your target market. What elements in your main menu can you do to targeting, working for women, empowering women 18 to 25, getting started in setting the groundwork for young women, empowering middle-aged. Maybe there's FAQs. What if I'm coming out of a divorce? Empowering, finding power in a relationship. Whatever those tools are that you can use to empower women to grow their financial thing, probably needs a little bit more voice on this site. And it's really it's a kind of a one-pager with a blog, and that's okay. Great video that, although it's a little bit lost down the page, but this could be, and it's kind of a bit laid out, a bit strange in this block, but yep, it's a great way to start. Perhaps it should load in a pop over the screen to really sort of fill this out. And how do you believe what I believe? There's probably a case of filling out these blog elements a little bit more in this whole journey. So now here's this Empower Steps to Financial Confidence. Some of this could be built out to actual main menu structure. So mindset, but really focused around women. Getting your mindset right. So planning your investments. Again, what does this structure look like for women? Maybe you're not totally providing financial advice only for women, and that's okay. But there's a chance to really fill this out a little bit more. So this is a nice call to action at the base. There's probably a case of more financial services qualifications and awards on here just to build that profile. Now, let's go across to, see, that's all, yep, it's all one word. So book, I thought, was your book. I thought you'd written a book. But no, that's you're booking a consultation, which is okay. But maybe it's book a consultation or um, talk now. That use maybe a different call to action other than just book. The blog is interesting. Obviously, you're well and truly aware of needing fresh content on your site, which is excellent. I'd thoroughly encourage that. However, I've discovered that this content may not be all yours. So there's actually not a lot of benefit from an SEO perspective around having this content on your site. So I'm not sure if you are aware or not, but this article here is now a good time to invest. Here's the article. So is very much like Clever Girl Finance, and this was published a month before your article was published. So not sure how you're getting your content or who's writing your copy, but this is a very close article to yours. So that will actually not be helping your web presence in Google at all. So you may need to address some of that. Google's after unique content published regularly, and some of that content needs to go to your homepage. So Google will start to rescan your site a little bit more regularly as well. So a quick crossover to your Wow Women site. Now, interestingly, if I search, again, you're doing a great job in Facebook and LinkedIn for both of those products, and you're probably your key generating lead gen is through those platforms, like through Facebook and LinkedIn. So perhaps your website, again, is just reinforcing your position in the market and providing that landing. But this probably needs a little bit more improvement. If I go to your web search, yeah. So I've searched for Wow Women in Google. Now, Wow Australia comes up, which isn't you, I realise that, but then your Facebook group does. I would make sure you set up a Google business profile under, so that this doesn't dominate. So if someone did search for Wow Women, you would probably come up here as well. So that means really connecting the dots with your Wow Women site, getting a business profile on Google and doing all of that. Now, this site is probably, almost a duplicate of your other site, a little bit softer in its tone and presentation, a little bit more professionally structured, I guess, less bitsy. But I find this, whilst the colours are feminine and on brand, I find this incredibly hard to read, this menu. And, as you go and your Wow Women logo isn't kind of web friendly or small friendly, you probably need to do some work on your logo that makes it an icon over on the side, or just becomes a much more readable icon in a small. It's just a design issue. So again, this probably just isn't enough content. You probably need to go on a little bit of a content expansion journey, fill out those pages that you want people to find you in, and become that source for women searching in Google for support and growth around financial services for women. You've got a great niche, and I think you could really leverage that with an expanded web profile if you're wanting to go down that path. I won't spend too much time on every element of this site because they're pretty basic setups. Again, your Facebook is good. Let's have a look at some of your competitors. Um, I would say this site is probably a little bit more advanced, although it could be a whole lot more as well if you have a look at Jonathan. So what I've done is searched in Google for something like financial advisor for women in Melbourne, just to get an idea of the landscape of. And so there's a lot of people advertising in this space. You've got 4 ads: Action Wealth, Getting Started. So they're probably not all focused on women. These are ads that are focused on financial advisor and Melbourne. But there are some people landing on this first page of search. And if you want to get there, you might want to have a look at, Victoria Devine's site, Lumix Wealth. Look at Lumix. So Lumix is a fairly straightforward site. I wouldn't say it's, really on the money as far as structure goes. But it is a little bit more sort of full-featured, if you like, for about us. So overview, I think there's a bit stock imagery. It's a little bit more structured and full in content. Some nice positioning statements. Then I think that might be the video. I won't dive into it too much, but you get the idea that it's just a little bit more thought out. Now, if I go to mobile, it's kind of built directly for mobile. I won't spend too much time on that. Now, at a technical level, Tracey, your site, your Tracey Sofra site is a little bit slow off the gate. So site speed's quite important as far as Google. Google wants everyone to have a good experience. If you're not serving a good experience to your clients and your visitors on your website, then you need to have a think and need to do something about it. So, for example, this is put it through a web page test, and we're looking at for first view, a 21 seconds page load time before the site really starts to get active. So you can see this big gap here of 13 seconds while stuff is happening in the site. So for a one-page website, that's pretty unacceptable. I'd be, it needs to be, 1 to 2 seconds of this type of thinking and then load. So, it should be fully loaded within sort of 5 to 7 seconds. 21 seconds is unacceptable. If I put it through the Google page analysis tools, here's the Tracey Sofra site. Performance on mobile is 19% out of 100. So here's this. So this is on a different testing site to the previous one. Time to interactive is 20 seconds. And desktop is not too bad. It's a bit better. It's saying time to interactive is 4 seconds. So we're getting some variability there in performance of the site. If I look over at the Wow Women, it performs significantly better, actually. So you're looking at time to interactive is 5 seconds. So much better. You can see here loading. So it's got a lot of images that probably and should be optimized. It's saying 22 seconds of images loading in the background. Again, for a small website, that's unacceptable. You need to be kind of thinking about how to serve those images a little bit faster. And if I look at the desktop, you've got a bit of an error here about the financial score image not loading, and you're getting some really good scores. 91 out of 100 for the desktop is excellent. Again, it's a simple site, so it should be loading fast. You don't have a big slider above the thing loading multiple images and all that sort of thing. So this site is performing better technically than your Tracey Sofra site. So a few things to think about there, but that's an option. So the other thing that I thought I'd quickly, so I've covered off your technical aspects of search. Obviously in Facebook, to really start to perform in this sort of list, you would need more content for a start. Expanded profile, again, looking at each of those, your target groups within your women's segment, and what content can you drive to them that's going to appear in this sort of searches, and reinforce the fact that you are the go-to for empowering women financially. So if we have a look at your LinkedIn profile, again, it's excellent. You've got your articles and featured. Again, this how good is now a good time to invest. This is okay if this is your article and someone else has stolen it, but probably not great if you're borrowing content and injecting that. So it's probably look, it's content. Probably not a lot of people are going to check, but over time, if you are thinking about really driving your blog harder, then getting original content. Some of our clients, they say, "Oh, can't we just go and grab this gun?" It's like, no. If you're going to reference someone else's content or use someone else's content, you go, "Hey, here's an article about investing in what is now a really good time to invest." So, maybe you talk about a recent article on Australian Financial Review. Everyone's talking about is now a good time to invest. Here's an article reference on here, but then you say, "Oh, well, here's my outlook on this topic," and do a small video about that, or that might be your Instagram post and a LinkedIn article. Hey, this is my advice around this and how it actually impacts women. So you've got a great niche there that you can actually really drive quite hard, and lots of opportunity for growth. So that's my sort of helicopter view of your web presence. There's a whole lot more we can dig into if I can help see what your Google Analytics is doing and where your traffic's coming from and how you're doing that. Perhaps you've got some EDMs going on, which I would say you would, because you're doing active articles. So you probably have a database that's outside of Facebook that you can drive more traffic and get some more conversion to clients. So it's been great to have a look at your site. If you'd like to know more, just reach out. Tracey, K&D Digital. Again, we've been in the game for a long time, and we work with people like yourself to help grow your digital footprint and solve technical issues as well as digital marketing issues to make you more presentable online, to get that consistency across all those platforms, and hopefully turn more prospects into clients for you. So thanks again, and we'll talk soon.